The Dyson Sphere's construction continues. We've headed off a potential crude oil shortage, new research options steadily creep ever closer, and now we return to Gakrux Prime as the Dyson Sphere's apparatus solar sail production slows down. Not quite sure why. We'll find out. Hello, Legion. This is Hadrian. Thank you for being here. Let's get back to Dyson Sphere Program and our Alpha Andromedae series. Been a few days. Last week was interesting. Already mentioned this in the beginning of yesterday's Stellaris episode, but DSP is back as of today. Not for much longer, because this series is rapidly reaching its apex. Well, it's already reached its apex, but it's reaching its endgame. So I do actually have an explanation for what's going on in Gakrux. Speaking of Gakrux, where the heck is it? Where are you? There you are. And it makes a lot of sense. So at the end of the last episode, I was a little bit concerned to notice that... Hang on, if we go to Gakrux. Okay, so actually this number is now back up to close to 14,000, which is good. So it's climbed since the end of the last episode, which that was fast. Last time we looked at it was in game time was just a few moments ago. It was like 11,000. So maybe I was looking at something incorrectly, or I was looking at maybe I was, you know what it was? Oh, I'm going to be so annoyed. Was this what it was? I'll bet you this is what it was. Hang on. Let's see if we can figure this out. No, it wasn't that I was looking at this one. Yeah, it's definitely Gakrux that I was looking at. But what I was going to say, anyway, even though it appears to have kind of self-resolved, what I was going to say is that I think the problem may be, and we still need to take a look at this, that the solar sails we're producing now are being split between too many guns, essentially, which makes perfect sense that we would see that issue. We have so many guns now firing, and you can definitely tell that the belts are struggling to keep up in the same way they have in the past. Like, there's guns that could be firing here that aren't firing. So that is probably what's going on. And so what I would imagine is happening, actually, yeah. Okay, I've got it. Here's what's happening. This number is going to oscillate up and down. It's going to go up above 14,000, maybe higher. We don't know what the high point is yet, but I think it's going to dip back down to 11,000. And what basically is going to cause that, I think, is, and I'm coming up with this on the fly, but like look what's happening here. As we get closer and closer to the central kind of feed point for all of these, you can see these sails flowing. So as we get closer and closer to this point here, this side of the planet, when it's the light side of the planet, or when it's not necessarily so much when it's high noon right here, but when this part of the planet is like at dawn or dusk, these guns can go absolutely ham because they are thoroughly fed with solar sails. But when it's on the opposite side, like right now, what we'll actually see is a reduction in the number of sails being absorbed. Now, that may or may not actually occur very consistently, because, again, one of the things that's happening is the sails are constantly being absorbed by new panels, and the panels that are taking up the most sails are the ones that are furthest along. So we've got the sphere completely done. The only panels we haven't ordered to be filled in are the top and bottom, and it looks like I might have misclicked and filled in the top anyway. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. All right, we're good. So I guess our main priority, as I hinted at last episode, it's definitely going to be just to continue ensuring... Hang on, let's make sure all of these are painted. They are. Let's see if we can get even more solar sails going. I'm shocked that even this doubling of the apparatus that we built is not enough. Also, we may need to go ahead and start building more of these. Obviously. It seems like we need to double up on our production of these. And that may even help if let's take a look at the very end here. See, we aren't actually experiencing a shortage yet. Like, you can tell that all of these are producing as rapidly as they can. But we could be headed towards one. Because certainly this resource is not building up anymore. So, tell you what. Yeah, power-wise, by the way, we're still completely fine. I don't even have to worry about that anymore, it feels like, which is nice. But I'm going to build this a little bit differently. Yeah, let's just do a new... photon combiner. Now, this is going to be interesting because it is going to introduce a new strain on these two resources. But I think it's worth it. Okay, so let's have the output belt coming here. We'll have to briefly skip an area there. Looks like maybe even a couple of areas. That's fine. Oh, that's not as pretty. That didn't work out as well. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Tell you what, if we do this, I'll bet you then this. Yeah, that's good enough for me. There we go. Not as pretty, unfortunately. All right, so this is just an output line here. Okay, so the good news is it really does look like I have plenty of processors. I don't need to build more processor production. There's lots. I mean, all of those machines are full, or half of them are full. So that, to me, indicates that a doubling of the production of this resource is not going to be the end of the world. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and get more of these being produced, because it's time. Yeah, we'll just have basic output there. Now we do need to make sure, yeah, this is pretty easily fixed here. Let's delete that. There'll be a brief hiccup here while I fix this, but you know what? I just realized easiest way to do this is just literally put the splitter right there. And have you come back around. Somebody mentioned to me that there is a mod that does what I was hoping was possible with the splitters, which is, you know, just allowing you to place it down on top of a line. So I'll have to look into that, because I'm pretty sure, well, it's going to be a challenge, because my next Dyson Sphere series is likely going to be after the combat update drops, which, you know, if it's soon, then the next Dyson Sphere series will be sooner than later. But if that change breaks any of the existing mods, it's going to be hard for me to bring in, you know, new mods as much as I would like to. Okay, so can I lift you? No, yes, I can. Perfect. That's going to work beautifully. Okay, so now we just do a lot of copy pasta. Research is almost done, by the way. Notice that. All right, so where would this go? Right here. Well, actually, hang on. We could copy-paste it in a slightly different spot and maybe have room for more. Yep. I don't think that was actually better. Let's see. Yeah, that was. There's one more. Perfect. There we go. I really just don't want to move that. I'm being lazy. That's what it comes down to. Okay, so that's an interesting shift, because we've just placed a considerably higher demand on those two resources. It looks like I have plenty of the optical grading crystals still coming in, which is good to see. Yeah, there's tons of it still on the way. It does look like we're starting to, just based on how much is being actively transported right now, it does look like we're we might be pulling more out of that tower than can be brought to it at a time. So we'll have to see how this plays out over time. But for now, what do we have here? Yeah, now this is actually filling up. That's fascinating. So we're producing so much. That's really interesting. So I think what I may have to do here, you know what I'm, like, you know I'm thinking it, like, this is, yeah, we're actually going to change the positioning on this, because it's time to do some pilers. Let's change the position just slightly. I want to pile this line as it comes in. And you can go straight over the top, right? Yep. And then come back down. And then we'll have the splitter back here. It's kind of ugly, but we'll live with it. You know? We'll live with it. It's okay. Okay, and now we will bring this back around. And there we go. All right, so now what I need to do is add a piler here. And there we go. So that should make life a little bit easier, and it will enable those to stop backing up the way that they were backing up for a moment, because the line, in theory... Well, no, on second thought, now that I think about it, because the piling only affects the line, it doesn't affect what goes into the splitter. It doesn't, like, that might have, I don't know. Maybe that'll help, maybe it won't. It will help keep these lines clear, but the second it hits storage, none of that matters. That's interesting. All right, so let's take a look at the solar cell situation and see if my yup, it's dropped back down to 10,000, but it's going to climb again based on what section of the solar cells are firing. Because I'm steadily producing a ton of solar cells, but I need to find a way to steadily produce more. Notice that this is completely backed up now, as was expected. Our storage here is completely backed up. So we've hit that point that I was teasing for some time, where we're able to sink a lot more into the production of solar cells. It does seem like now that this is fully saturated, maybe things could get a little bit better. See, this one's making it all the way around. None of the others are. Even though these are fully stacked solar sails, which is very fascinating to me. And we have the piling set up as well, so like we've done a lot to ensure that this is a very dense line. What I'll be curious to see, because I think that recently happened. These have been building and building and building and, you know, filling up that storage for the last couple of episodes, and now it's finally done. So, since that's finally done, maybe we'll actually start to see a change in the pattern of this. I don't want to spend too much time staring at it, but right now we have 11,000 solar cells being absorbed. Maybe more will start to make it around here. Yeah, it already seems like more are starting to come around, but certainly not in large quantities. So it's troublesome. If there's a surplus here, I mean, I could always just look. Let's take a look at this. Let's see. I've never tried to use the production screen for this purpose. Over the last minute, yeah, we're consuming 4,000. Okay, it is indicating that there's an overage. Nice research results. So all of our logistics, drones, vessels, stations, all of the storage caps just improved. So that's going to help with literally everything, especially what I was just looking at a moment ago with the, not spiniform stalagmite, but optical grading crystal. So that's going to be very, very helpful. Part of me, you know what? At this point, I'm going to go ahead and delete 4 of these. I'm going to delete 8 of them. You know? Like, I don't... I don't need that big of a draw on my antimatter fuel rods for this planet anymore, because the Dyson Sphere is... the Dyson Sphere is taking care of this planet. It's fine. Alright, notice that we're starting to see sales back up in some of those storages a little bit. It's not lasting long, but I think that's a positive sign. But yeah, the amount of sales making it around this first belt is not changing that much. It is slowly improving. So that, see, this is what's going to happen. I think slowly but surely this belt's going to fill up, and then the same thing's going to start to happen here. But what will be fascinating is, as that happens, it will ensure that more of the guns can fire, which will increase the demand for solar sails and make it harder to actually fully fill up the lines. So, yeah, the focus right now, if we really just want to move towards getting this done as quickly as possible and not just coast, which, look, Dyson Sphere Program is a game about logistics and automation. You could totally just coast at this point, to the completion of this Dyson Sphere. It's underway. It's gonna get done. But I'm loving the experimentation with figuring out, like, how can we speed it up even more. Now, I've had a pretty basic approach to that so far, which is, let's just, have tons and tons of solar sail production. But maybe there's more that I can do, too. Let me think. I mean, I could just increase solar sail production even more, because it seems like there's an opportunity for that. You can tell that there's resources we're sitting on at the moment. I guess one question would be, if I extend this line... Ooh, that would work. What if I extended this one? That would not work. Okay. That's interesting. That's very interesting indeed. Alright, so I am going to bring this line across here. And then what I'll do... Oh yeah, hang on. No, here's the best spot to do it. Let's just lift you here, and you can go over that. And then we'll bring you back down here. Now, we're just going to do more solar sail production for now, but there could be some other things that I can do that I haven't thought about for a while. So I'll put my thinking cap on after I've expanded this in a very straightforward, basic way. Like I do, using spaghetti. Now, in theory, I could go ahead and just have, like, I could extend this all the way down. I'm going to go to that line for now. Now, interestingly, I will have to set up the outputs differently here. I see where I'm going to get the inputs working. That's not a problem. Yeah, see, because I need to make sure they're painted as well. That's not going to be difficult to do, though. So, let's see. Let's see, indeed, what we can get away with here. I think I'm going to need to leave a space. Yeah. So now let's just build a crap ton of these. This is going to be a little bit crazy, but it might dramatically increase the rate at which our Dyson Sphere is completing, so I'll take it. How many apart is that? 1, 2... It's 5 apart. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It actually needs to be more like 4 apart, doesn't it? At least for the purposes of those. All right, good enough. All right, so slightly different output here. First of all, let's trim this just a little bit. Output will be here, and it's going to go back this way. And now we can elevate it here. And all right, perfect. Now, one thing I need to do, let's see, where's the best spot to do this? It just depends where the game will let me build one of these. All right, it looks like it's going to let me... Oh, that's so strange. It's going to let me build one on top of the top line there, which is... God, that's so surprising that it's letting me do that. But okay. Okay. I didn't think it was going to do that, but it's letting me build one. I mean, look at this. That's one of the automatic lifted lines that's been added in the most recent update. And it's letting me put one on the top line. That's crazy. Look at that. I love it. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's fantastic, but it's surprising. Okay, so I think I just need to do a splitter here. I had it. There we go. Oh, I need to elevate that much higher. My bad. So it's going to be at a weird level. That's one of the interesting things about this. Yeah, it needs to go up to like there. Yeah, this is so fascinating. We're going to need to really finagle this. All right, so what I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to build a line out that way, and then I'm going to flip that whole path. There we go. And then connect you straight there. All right. Now everything that goes through there will be painted. That's probably the jankiest painter that I've installed yet in the entire series. That's funny. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the one on the very end, because that's the one that I had tuned the outputs for, or that I trimmed the outputs for. So, output? Oh, you know what? That's always going to bug me. Hang on. Let's lengthen this line a bit. There we go. It's just a little bit crooked. I didn't like it. And now we build solar sails. And it's automatically building more. They're already building extra products, which is great. So now it's just a matter of... Hello, autosave. Nice to see you. All right, so this is going to be very fascinating. That one's a little bit crooked as well, but we'll live with it. It's fine. So now we have definitely entered a point where these storages are going to start to fill up. They don't have a choice. This storage is... Oh, yeah. It's going to fill up fast. And... let me think. The only alternative that I have... I could... God, that would be really challenging. Since I'm no longer doing anything on this side with this output, I don't know that I want to completely disconnect that, but this is an output for this splitter that I could use, because right now they're only connected here. So this one's filling up, and it's just dumping everything as fast as it can on this line, but it can't dump any faster. Like, it's doing all it can. So, I mean, that might still be enough, but I feel like this is probably creating a bottleneck now at this point, and I need to figure out a way to deal with that. Okay, I have one idea, and it might actually work based on what I've already got set up here. Yeah, this might actually work. Let me... Alright, let's delete you. If this doesn't work, I could end up doing a lot of maintenance in a way that I don't want to do. But we're going to disconnect that old apparatus because we're not going to use it for the foreseeable future. We're just not. We're just not. Not going to happen. It's okay. All right, and then we're going to connect you. Oh, just kidding. No, we're not. We're going to think about connecting you, maybe not. Can we go this way? We can. Okay. Unfortunately... Oh, hang on. I think we can actually... Yeah, this is actually pretty easily fixed. Let's delete you there. And delete you there. We just need to bring that line over by one spot. And it should still... Yep, because there's nothing over it anymore. So we've now undone the thing that I was marveling at just a moment ago. There we go. Okay, so... one potential solution is to let both towers output equally, like so. All right, there we go. So now that line, look at that. That is rock solid now. Now, it's only going to be that way as long as, you know, this storage, you know, is dumping. And if one of these empties out, which very well could, if one of those empties out, then it won't be this solid of a flow anymore. But let's take a look. Unfortunately, kind of the work that I did there probably slowed down the extent to which cells were making it all the way around. So whatever progress I was making towards what I was describing earlier in the episode has just been reversed slightly. But now we have a much healthier flow. Look at that. That's just completely solid with no gaps whatsoever. So that worked. Because we basically have, when you look at the splitters at the bottom, if we can even select the splitters. There we go. We have 2 inputs and 1 output there. And then this one has, I believe, the same. This actually has 2 outputs. So it's feeding directly into this one, which is the way it should be. It's feeding directly into this one, but then this one has 2 outputs. I'm sorry, this one has the 1 output, this one has the 1 output. Yeah, so that is ensuring that everything that I've just built has an opportunity to contribute. What's fascinating to me is that this is actually starting to back up on account of just the sheer number of them being produced, which in some ways is good, because it might slow down any kind of chokehold that we place on these resources, just the demand for these. So far, it looks like it's pretty solid. Everything that we've done, I mean, we've had to do a lot of trial and error, a lot of step-by-step maintenance. Okay, look at this. Look at that. I mean, that seems kind of similar to what it was before, but it also looks like the spacing of them is a lot more like satisfying to see. So what that implies to me is that there is already an improvement occurring in our efficiency here. So let's take a look. Production-wise, how are we doing? Yeah, we're now producing tons more than we're consuming at the moment. Now that's just over the last minute. Yeah. Yeah, this is insane. This is a huge change. And I'll take it. It's freaking great. So with that, I think what I described earlier is going to occur. This line is slowly going to fill up, and then this line will slowly start to fill up. And then as that happens, more of the guns will be able to fire. I was going to look a moment ago. Let's take a look at how many solar sails are actually in flight. Only 10,000 at the moment. But you can see this thing. Hang on. Let's go into space for a moment. We're at the 30-minute mark, so we'll be ending in a few minutes, but let's fly up and actually enjoy how this is looking. Oh my god. Look at that. Not only the process of, we haven't flown over there in a while, not only the process of getting, you know, the solar sails out and being retrieved by the Dyson swarm, or, well, being retrieved by the Dyson sphere from the Dyson swarm, but just seeing all the panels slowly fill in. Multiple panels at the middle latitudes are nearing completion, which again, very good. Panels at the higher latitudes are going to finish faster. There's less surface area to cover. So the sooner these first rows finish, the better. In some ways, it probably would be just an illusion, but we could have, it may not have been, like we could have actually made, you can see the individual rows of the spots they're traveling to. That's so cool. We could have actually made things go a little bit faster by waiting to give the order to fill in, you know, certain rows until they were completely, like, for example, I had these first squares built ages ago now, these first panels. If I had not actually ordered any more panels to be filled in until these were all completely filled by solar cells, they'd be done already, all of them. And then I could give the orders for the next one. So I don't think it necessarily would have affected the speed of things directly, but it might have appeared to in some way. I don't know. That'd be interesting to talk about in the comments from some of our more technically inclined and logistically inclined community members. Because one thing about me, like, I've taught statistics. It's been a while, so obviously, like, the ability to do head math, especially while commentating on a new game like this, has been challenging. But I've taught statistics, and I'm familiar with a lot of the mathematical foundation of like what's happening underneath. But I've never, you know, taken a course in logistics. I don't have any background, and I don't have a ton of game time in Dyson Sphere Program having to do with like min-maxing and making the most productive interstellar factories possible. A lot of you do, so I'm always very curious to hear from the more analytical minds and the more logistically inclined minds, you know, for your perspective on whether or not that would have actually, well, on everything, but in this case, on whether or not like ordering the panels to be filled at different times, kind of waiting a little bit, would have impacted the rate at which everything was working. Okay, so now let's go back this way. All right, it's slow, okay? It's slow, but you can definitely tell that more of these are making their way around. And so I think what we're going to start to see happen is this number's not going to dip as low anymore. It's not going to get all the way back down to 10,000. It'll, you know, dip down to 11, which it is right now. It's climbing back up towards 12 at the moment. But then there is also the other issue that I've pointed out, which is that as this develops, as these belts fill up, more guns will be able to fire, which will, you know, increase demand. Because so much of this, like the current issue that we're seeing right now, and how these three splitters are able to split things, comes down to the fact that not every gun on these belts is firing as efficiently as it could be. So this is how many are making it around right now, but like when this completely fills up and this whole belt is firing constantly, will it stay full? And then when this one starts to fill up, if it fills all the way up, will both of them stay full? You know, that's the question that is, you know, the answer to that is very likely to be no. So at this point, I mean, we have one more research project that we have in our last queue, and I'll make some decisions. It's all endgame tech at this point. But you can definitely tell that we are building up. Wow. Look at this. Yeah, see, we're actually... I need to find a way to send these farther. Because right now, yeah, I've got this here. I might just need to have another line going down there, you know? Because right now, this line isn't going anywhere. Or this output isn't going to... There isn't even a line there. I don't have one placed. So... Ooh. Hello. Hang on. Hang on. Could I maybe? Could I maybe? Could I? Could I? No, you're not going to let me? Okay, that's rude. Alright. That's what we're going to figure out next episode. At the beginning of the very next episode, I'm going to stare at this particular problem child and find a way to output these excess sales down a second line. Because we can definitely improve the number of sales that's making it here. We could actually bring it down to the very bottom and start filling in from the opposite end. Now, what we would have to do actually is reverse the path of this belt so that the middle belt would be the one, the original belt, actually, no, actually, the original belt is this one. This is the first one. So this is the second one. But yeah, we can do that. That'll be fun. Okay, I've got a project for the next episode then. And that way we'll have we won't have the last belt being last in line anymore. We'll actually have solar cells coming in from two different directions, which will be an improvement over and above what we did in this episode. That's fun. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to follow along. If it's not your first time or even your second, look for the join button to access unique emotes, badges, and other perks. New episodes are coming out every day. Again, finally. Was gone for a bit, but I'm back now. Every day at noon. US Eastern Time. And comments are always welcome. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.